How exciting is this? I know a lot of you are excited that this man is joining us on the program. He is 35-0. He defends his WBO welterweight title this Saturday at Madison Square Garden against Egidijus Kavaliauskas, a.k.a. Mean Machine. December 14th, same time as UFC 245. He is arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, has won at 35, at 40, now at 47. He is the pride of Omaha, Nebraska. He is Terence Crawford joining us on the program. What a great honor this is. Terence, how are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm doing all right.
You know, we don't usually have pound-for-pound greats in boxing joining our little rinky-dink MMA show here, so I'm being honest, this is a great honor for me. Thank you for doing it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
You know, I know that you are somewhat familiar with the sport of mixed martial arts, but, you know, I want to offer you this, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Your situation reminds me a lot of a guy named Demetrius Johnson in our sport, one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. But throughout his run as UFC champion, he was always asked, why don't you get more attention? Why don't you get, you know, more love from the fellow fighters, the media, the promoter? Why don't you speak more? Why don't you talk more trash? And after a while, he was just like, I am who I am. Just take it or leave it. Does it get annoying? Because I feel like every interview you do, you're asked about these same things. The trash talk. Why don't you get more buzz? This and that. And at some point, it's just like you're 35-0 and you're one of the best pound for pound fighters on the planet. Does that get tiring that this is the same narrative going into all of your fights?
Yeah, sometimes, you want to be remembered as a person that didn't have to change for anybody. I understand it's an entertainment business, but at the same time, I feel like I'm entertaining in the ring. Uh, I do everything I have to do to put on a great show for each and every one of my fans. And I don't feel like I have to be a certain way to sell fight.
That also being said, do you feel like you are starting to get a little more respect now? As I said, being considered one of the pound for pound greats, it's essentially you and Lomachenko. Does it feel like people are starting to maybe look past slowly but surely all that other stuff, the glitz and glamour, and just be like, yeah, this guy deserves all this praise and he doesn't have to do much more outside of the ring in order for us to give him that praise?
Uh, you have you have some people that's like that, but some people is still like, oh, he's not fighting anybody, he's fighting bombs, or I just don't like him for no reason. So you're gonna get a mixture of a little bit of everything.
I understand this particular fight is a mandatory title defense, but how much of a say do you have in your title fights? Like, do you go to Top Rank? Do you say to them, like, please get me bigger names? I need to start fighting bigger names in order to shut these people up?
Well, yeah, of course. We done sat down and talked about who I want to fight and uh, when I want to fight them. But at the same time, I gotta get past my mandatory first, and then we gotta see how uh, business fall into place in the near future. But my main focus and my main objective is to go out there this weekend and get this victory.
It seems like the business of Bud is doing well. I understand you just opened up a store in Omaha this past weekend, and there was a great turnout. I mean, is this all exceeding your wildest dreams? Did you ever think that you would get this popular, especially in your hometown, which I know is very important to you? It's a big part of who you are. Is it kind of surreal to see how famous you have gotten in Nebraska?
Well, at the same time, I wouldn't say it amazed me because uh, when I was an amateur, I had a big following in Omaha, Nebraska. Everybody always knew who I was. They supported me as an amateur, and they just been waiting for that moment to come to Omaha so they can really get behind me to support me. And Gamboa was the opening door for all the fans and the people that wasn't fans that heard of me but didn't ever see me fight. They had the opportunity to see me fight live, and they became instant fans. And it's a blessing that my city, my state, backed me the way they do.
Like I said, I know you're friends with some MMA fighters. You visited the Ultimate Fighter when TJ Dillashaw was a coach a few years back. How do you feel about MMA? Are you an MMA fan?
Of course. I follow MMA. My good friend Masad Bektik, he from Lincoln, Nebraska. He trained with me on numerous occasions. Uh, TJ came up and trained with me a couple of times, being that he's in Denver, Colorado, and I'm in Colorado Springs. Um, yeah, I like the sport of MMA. You know, I used to wrestle as a kid. My kids is in wrestling. My son is ranked #1 in the nation currently right now. So yeah, I follow it.
I'm curious about your son. As you mentioned, he's doing phenomenally well in wrestling. Is there a chance that he'll go down the MMA path as opposed to boxing, considering how good he is of a wrestler?
Well, actually, he can box too, you
Okay.
know, but I don't want him. I don't want him to do any one of those sports. I don't want him to do MMA, nor boxing, nor football. You know, I feel like I'm making this sacrifice right now for him to do something better with his life and less dangerous. So, you know, he can do whatever he wants. But if you choose to box or choose to go the MMA route, then I will support him 120%.
Have any of your children said they want to follow in your footsteps? And have you had to have that conversation with them that maybe, you're doing this so that they don't have to do it as well? Has that happened yet?
Yeah, my older son, the one that's ranked #1 in the nation in wrestling, he always was coming up to me and said, "Dad, I want to box. Dad, I want to box." And I would tell him like boxing is a dangerous sport, you know. And he would come to me and say, "Well, you box, you box." I was like, "Yeah, but I've been boxing since I was 7, and I'm doing this for y'all. I'm making this sacrifice for y'all." And once I told him that people really get hurt in the ring and some potentially die, you know, he was like, "I don't want you to box no more, Dad." Like he started crying. I had to explain to him like, I know what I'm doing in the ring, but at the same time, you never know what can happen. And this was the reason why I don't want him to box. And he understood.
It has been a great year for boxing. I'm a huge fan of the sport, but it also has been a tough year for boxing, considering the deaths, especially over the summer and most recently with Patrick Day. I know you wrote about him on your social media. When that happens, do you take a step back? Like, does it make you question the sport and your involvement in the sport? Is it hard to go to the gym the next couple of days after you see a young up and comer with his whole life ahead of him die because of the sport?
Well, you know, it's heartbreaking to see any fighter uh, get hurt in the ring, but at the same time, for me, I think it just drives me more to work even harder to where, you know, those type of things I could try to avoid it by not getting hit as much, or, you know, finish a fight sooner than later, being in the best shape that I possibly can be in. Just try to do any and everything that I possibly can to make sure, you know, I'm trying my best not to get in certain situations.
And then you have situations like this past Saturday where Anthony Joshua, I think, fights a brilliant fight, a smart fight, a tactical fight, uses his length, his jab, doesn't get hurt. And people are hating on him, saying it was boring, saying that he was running. A, what did you think of the fight? And B, what did you think of the criticism that he received afterwards?
Well, I haven't seen the fight yet because I was too busy in my grand opening at the same time that the fight was going on. But at the end of the day, the sport is called boxing, and if he used his ability and his skill set to box his way through a fight against a tough uh, champion and Ruiz, then so be it. You know, you're gonna get those fans and those people that say, "Oh, well, that's a boring fight. He didn't do too much, or he ran." But it's okay. You know, you got the victory. You go home. You can sleep at night. And next fight, you know, you work to put on a better show.
Did you hear Ruiz say afterwards that he didn't train enough, that he got too big, 283 pounds he weighed in at? Does that blow your mind that someone will come into a title fight and let himself go? He said he trained alone for this fight. How can that happen?
Well, you know, he's won the biggest fight of his life. He conquered all his dreams in one night. You know, becoming the champion of the world, beating a champion, all the glamour, the people behind him, the money. He got it all in one night. And some people they can deal with that, and some people they can't. And he showed that it kind of got to him a little bit, the partying, you know. So hey, got to come back and go to the drawing board and do better.
What has a greater chance of happening in 2020 for you if all goes well this Saturday? Errol Spence or Floyd Mayweather? Which fight has a better chance in your opinion?
Neither.
Neither.
They both is a 50-50 not to happen at this moment.
Is there one that you feel like has a better chance? Floyd says he's coming back, right?
I don't. Me and Floyd is that fight would never happen. I don't believe. Me and the Errol Spence fight, I really don't know because I don't know his health reasons right now, and I know when he come back to the fight game, he's not gonna be itching to get right in the ring with me right off of an injury. So I really can't say.
Okay. And what do you make of Floyd flirting with, I don't know if you've seen this, Dana White saying maybe MMA, something. Do you think he'll ever do that? He's not going to do MMA, correct?
Who knows? You know, he's Floyd Money Mayweather. You never know. You put the right opponent in front of him, he might take it, and you know, he's not gonna take it if it's not a smart business move for him.
Would you ever do MMA?
I don't know, man. They don't pay enough.
Yeah. Compared to you guys, right? Like the top guy, the equivalent to you in MMA doesn't come anywhere near what the top boxers make, right?
Not at all.
Right. Why do you think that is?
I don't have the slightest idea, but y'all guys, you know, y'all take a lot of punishment, getting kicked, you know, choked, elbowed, let alone punched, you know, and I don't feel y'all get paid enough to go through the things that y'all go through. Look at the guy this past weekend
Yep.
that got punched and got his lip split. It's like, dang, all that for what? $10,000 if you show up, and another 10 if you win. I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I think he made a little more, but your point stands. They don't make anything.
No, I'm just saying.
I hear you. Yeah, for sure. They don't make anywhere near as much, and it's a crazy thing. And now you're starting to see a lot of MMA fighters say they want to come to boxing. Stipe saying he wants to fight Tyson Fury, and you continue to hear this after what happened with Conor. Would you ever entertain that, like one of those MMA boxer matchups, the super fight, if you will, but in boxing?
Of course.
Yeah, that's easy for you,
like
right?
I said, like I said, you know, it just depends on the fighter and what they bring to the table, and we can get it on if that's what the fans want to see.
Last thing for you, do you feel at this point like you have anything more that you can do as far as proving people that you're number one pound for pound? Like even a win on Saturday, does that put you ahead of Lomachenko, or do you not even care about this sort of thing?
Well, my main focus is to go out there and make sure I get the victory. I'm not worried about a pound for pound, number one in the world, none of that. My main focus is to make sure I go out there and get this victory.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, big honor to have you on the show, Terence. I'm a big fan of everything that you do and what you stand for, especially with your children and your family. Continue to rep Omaha like you do, and good luck to you this Saturday at Madison Square Garden.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Terence Bud Crawford. If you don't know, he is one of the very best fighters on the planet, and in particular, boxer. And he returns to action this Saturday. It's a very busy night in combat sports because we have UFC 245, but also big Top Rank event on ESPN right after the Heisman Trophy presentation. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.